Welcome back to Market Mamas.
Yes, we're so excited today. We're going to discuss life balance.
Yes, so for day trading, when you first start, it can quickly feel like an obsession. You can so easily become deeply immersed in the world, and it can kind of take hold of your life once you really feel the full potential of it all. Once you start building skill and edge and you start winning, you kind of just want more and more. And so you can get in deep fast.
Totally. So my obsession in the initial phase of learning how to trade looked like isolation. I sort of checked out of my former life. I, besides, family and adulting responsibilities, but I barely talked to my friends anymore. I had signed out of social media, and I don't believe it was the healthiest thing. I do recall some highlights during that period. I was, journaling a lot and just becoming way more mindful, and so I think it was necessary. Anytime you're just trying to have intense focus and, determination to just expand yourself, your identity, you're trying to develop a new skill set. I think that's critical, that you do, kind of go deep, but you do have to kind of eventually restore some balance in your life because, all the things in your life serve and support you and, bring you joy. And I eventually needed to kind of get back, bring some things back in that I had really, really just kind of, hunkered down and wanted to just, be in a bubble. So that's what it felt like for me. Maybe for the first, I don't know, at least 6 months.
Yeah, totally. Same boat. I mean, it really sucks you in and you get so deep. It can snowball as like a really important priority for your time. Once you start putting in a huge amount of time, energy, personal resources into learning to trade, you quickly become fully invested in a lot of ways. It can become like pretty hectic when you're trying to fit in everything, and you can start doing the bare minimum in other aspects of your life so that you can fit in like one more trading hour, one more study session, one more trading video. Like you just want to gobble up as much as you can. And that's tricky. Sometimes, like even during a trading day, when you intend to only trade like the first hour or two, it can suck you in and you can end up with several more hours of your day at your screen pretty easily instead of what you had previously planned to accomplish. So you have to learn that there's a tendency for that and then figure out what to do with that.
Right. It's just so hard. There's really no way around the amount of time you have to spend practicing whatever technical skills you're learning, trading system or style. It takes time just to learn the fundamentals and the knowledge of it all. And then you're not done. Then it's like, okay, now I have to actually apply all of this into executing and figure out how to marry those two together. And it can become very addicting. We talk a lot in the trading about back testing, and it's interesting because every day is new and new opportunities. And so you get a lot of FOMO if you're not, following the charts. And so you could easily find yourself all day on the charts, and it's not healthy. Like you said, you're a lot of times we found ourselves neglecting a lot of other things. So it can take away a lot from your life if you're not, on top of compartmentalizing and realizing like, okay, I said I was going to spend this much amount of time and I have all these other things I really need to get after as well.
Dude, seriously. Yeah. So like all of us had a full life before we started trading. So, I mean, I don't know about the specifics for all you other traders out there, but many of us have immediate families, kids or pets, a regular job that pays the bills while you're learning, a home to maintain, groceries, cooking. Also, don't forget to actually put energy into your close personal relationships and yourself. It gets a lot. It's a lot before you even started becoming a day trader or any sort of trader or power pursuit. So it can be challenging to find the balance as you dig into this and you fall headfirst into what you're trying to do, and you have the urge to give so much time to it because it's so interesting, exciting, full of potential. You're growing, you're evolving, you want more. But then the back of your mind, I mean, you can't neglect everything else in your life. If you've come as far in your career as Kendra and I have with trading or farther, you have the skills and edge as a trader, but so there's no going back. Like you're in. this is where you have to like figure out that finding balance for your life is like critical to longevity in this pursuit. Because if you continue to neglect getting that balance, it's not going to be healthy.
100%. The momentum of it all is kind of intoxicating. And I know for us, we almost got fearful of like, we don't want to lose our drive. We don't want to lose this motivation, this passion. Again, it becomes almost like an addiction. And, to understand that you are taking on a whole new world and you're almost learning a new language that most people around you, they're just not going to be a part of. And so initially, when Becky and I found each other and we're so lucky to, form a accountability partnership, we went a little overboard. We were like so committed and, every day sharing our goals and our benchmarks. And we were very much still, when we found each other, studying a lot and still, learning so much, so it got a little intense. And, I was one day, the salsa story, Becky, you got to tell the salsa story, because we realized, I think on that day, like we got to chill out a little bit and, kind of let the rest of our life back in.
Oh my gosh, that was such a turning point. I think I worked on that Friday and we talked on my drive home from the hospital, and we both were deep into it. I think we were talking about how we want to get through these certain number of training videos and do some replay and like benchmarks that we want to accomplish over the weekend when our husbands were home to help with the kids. And so I really wanted to do those things. But then also in my heart, I have a big hobby of gardening, and my backyard does pretty well. And all of my vegetables were ripe. This was like early September. And so my tomatoes, peppers, onions, everything was like perfect. And I was like, Kendra, I really intend to do all of these things, but also what am I going to do? I need to make salsa. Like everything is perfectly ripe right now. Like I have to be two people. I want to make the salsa. And it was like this funny moment where I think, honestly, I was so uncertain and torn, and I had real guilt. And I think I maybe even had tears about like the pressures of it. And I think you broke me out of it. We laughed. We're like, dude, make the salsa. Like trading is not going anywhere. The market is not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Like you also have to live your life. I've been growing this stuff since May. And so I just breathe with that, I guess, permission. It was like, okay, so I made salsa and it turned out amazing. And the end of the night, we're sipping tequila and fine tuning the seasonings. And it was the best day. And it was like, okay, that was a really early exposure to the importance of having that balance and recognizing that you can fully love trading and want to give it all your time. But like, there's other things that you also love, and you have to kind of manage both. And that part of the evolution of life balance for us, I think both, was like so helpful, because it was like, you can learn on Tuesday and on the weekend you got the salsa done.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now I want chips and salsa and margaritas.
Yeah,
everyone else,
right? Okay.
I have to try Becky's salsa at some point. And yes, it was like in that moment you needed permission, and I was like, wait, like we got to get this thing together, because like you should not be feeling this way, and go make the damn salsa. Like I'm not going anywhere. Markets aren't going anywhere. All our studying is still going to be here. So that was such a pivotal moment, and just so significant in our, early obsessive, addictive, crazy day. And so, yeah.
Yeah, girl, we've come so far in navigating our schedule and priorities since then. I'm so proud of us, because we no longer feel that same like heaviness and constant pressure to accomplish everything for any one part of our world, any day or week or time period. Like it's all about like, what do we need to do in these separate areas, and splitting the time kind of appropriately. So rather than choosing to like focus on everything, instead we're like meeting the needs of our hearts, our families, our pursuit. So thank goodness that we've like figured out a little bit since that weekend. And actually this makes me think how killer you're doing with your balance with the running that you're doing every day.
Oh my gosh. So early on, again, in my journey, knowing my obsession I was going through and just my personality, I needed to build in my day a break, some time outside. And so I just started forcing myself. I say forcing because I had to make myself go to the park after I would drop my sons off at school. I was like, I got to get outside, take a break off the screen, take a break from trading. And so that just evolved. It started with just, walking to the park and then doing some light exercises. And now I'm like this full runner and I don't have to force myself anymore. I'm excited to do it. It's just, it kind of just started just become a part of who I am on the journey, who I've become. And so, I listen to really good content and it really helps to balance out the emotions from, just trading. When we have these trading sessions in the morning, sometimes they're really intense, whether we had a really good session or we had a really sucky session. And so when I'm, done and I get out there and I'm about to start my run, it just reminds me that, hey, I'm a badass on a good day or a bad day. I'm strong as a mother and, hey, I'm a market mama. And I love it. And so it's just been really good for my physical health, my mental health. And so.
Such a great example, that running, of leaning into activities that are healthy for our whole bodies, minds, and spirits. There's a lot of examples and everyone's different, but exercise, gardening, cooking, meditation, any variety of spirituality, family time. There's a lot of non-trading choices that are really influential in our overall mental health. And we've also learned with time that mental health is critical to life, but also when you're pursuing something super hard, such as trading, to have that, be able to go to a peaceful place and know that you're meeting multiple needs besides just your intellectual pursuits. So knowing how and choosing to infuse those other things into your life is really powerful for general health, but also in your pursuits.
I agree. And, another aspect of balance is there's so many studies that support the theory about taking breaks and how it actually helps you be more effective. So it can help you help your performance. And it's so counterintuitive because I know for us, and I'm sure many others can relate, it's not always easy to give yourself that grace and space when you feel like you haven't arrived. You haven't maybe met your specific goals, your benchmarks, you're just not, you're still filling in that gap. So it's almost like, no, like, there's this culture of like hustle. And supposedly that's really not the best approach. So I feel like when you're trying to, create a life for yourself, of the most fulfilling life you can imagine, you're really never going to reach the top or, an end. It's just always evolving and growing. So enjoying the process, I think, is just, it's so significant. It's so critical. And taking a break, giving yourself that time just to reset, every time we've done it, it's definitely, given us some clarity, and just, creating that space to do the other work that's really necessary just to serve and support yourself. And so, take breaks and don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty.
That plays into the whole, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Like you have to also remember that you need to breathe. Because trading is a really hard endeavor, but it has truly limitless opportunities for growth and success. So we both, Kendra and I, we decided we are here for the hard work and we're pushing through this, but we're also going to stay dedicated to ourselves and our families, because that's kind of the way forward for us that makes it sustainable for the long term. Because this is not a marathon. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. So it has necessitated this discussion between you and I, Kendra, many, many times. I mean, many times over, we've had to cultivate that environment for ourselves of giving yourself grace and time and space to like have all the feelings and meet all the needs. And so that's another reason why we felt the need to have this as an early discussion on Market Mamas, because we want to just normalize the fact that this is something you should talk about and recognize that it doesn't make you less of a trader if you have to take a day off or you want to take a day off to do something with a friend or whatever. It makes you a more well-rounded human, and it makes the process a little bit more easy to get through. And so if you're committed to something super hard and potentially all consuming, we would argue for the idea that discussing with someone how to best balance that all so that you can, keep yourself sane.
Right. And, just be okay. It's the thing with balance is the irony is that sometimes you just got to be okay with things not feeling balanced at all. You will have those days when, you don't get everything checked off the to-do list and everything's just a mess. And then you'll have days where everything just comes together seamlessly and feel like you're on top of the world, and just trusting that over time, everything balances out. We like to, I think it was your trainer, Becky, that told you one day, we're a masterpiece and a work in progress. So we love to, remind each other of that. You mentioned sustainability, and that is one of our favorite go-to words. And it is just so important to, design your life so you can be sustainable, especially with trading, and just really, really embrace the long game. And so that's what we try really, really, really hard to do. And it's not easy.
Yeah. And we're speaking from years of practice and failing and figuring it out ourselves. I mean, we definitely know that there's importance in that because we have failed to have life balance, and it has had consequences for ourselves, for our spirit, for our energy, for our momentum. And so like this was hard fought lessons, I think, for both of us and most people who are really trying something that is really hard and takes a lot of energy. So, I mean, these are learn the hard way, and the whole work in progress and masterpiece. Some days you're more like, I got a lot of progress to do. And some days you're like, I'm amazing. So balance for sure in all the ways. So anyways, you guys, so if you guys have any ideas for how you manage balance, how you succeeded, how you failed, tips while you're in a love affair with the stock market, or any other, significant dream, let us know. We're so curious on your experience with this.
Definitely. We want to hear from you. And it's actually kind of cool that I don't even think when we, started this episode that we realized that we're in the thick of finding a new balance now with starting this podcast and Market Mamas. So again, here we are, trying to fit something new into our existing routines and daily rhythms. So we're just super happy that you guys joined us today, and please hit subscribe, hit notifications, and we'll see you soon for more discussions.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.